I did a 10K wedding shoot for free as a gift. The bridezilla treated me like a slave, destroyed my lens, and confessed a life-ruining secret on a hot mic. I waited until the speeches to play the audio. I'm writing this from a burner account because litigation was threatened, though it meant nowhere, and honestly, the fallout was nuclear. My name is Alex. I own a boutique photography and videography studio in Chicago. I'm not cheap. My typical wedding package starts at $8,000 and goes up to $15,000. I'm picky about my clients, but Mark was different. Mark and I have been best friends since we were sharing crayons in kindergarten. He's the godfather to my daughter. He's the guy who drove me to the ER at 3 a.m. when my appendix burst. He is a golden retriever in human form, loyal, kind, soft-spoken, and wealthy. Mark comes from old money, but he never acted like it. Unfortunately, his kindness makes him a target for predators. Enter Vanessa. Vanessa was an Instagram influencer with 15,000 followers. Most of them bought bots. She was stunningly beautiful on the outside, but inside she was a void, a black hole of narcissism. When Mark got engaged, I was skeptical. They had only been dating for 6 months, but Mark was head over heels. "Alex, she's the one," he told me, eyes shining. "She's pregnant. I'm gonna be a dad." He asked me to be his best man. I accepted. Then, a week later, he asked me for a favor. "Vanessa really wants you to shoot the wedding. She says your style is vogue enough for her brand, but she blew the budget on the venue and the dress. Can you do it as a gift?" It was a huge ask. Shooting a wedding means I can't be a guest, I can't drink, I have to work 12 hours straight. But for Mark, I said yes. I told him I'd bring my second shooter, cover the costs myself, and give him the platinum package for free. That was my first mistake. The red flag started 2 months before the wedding. We did an engagement shoot at the Botanic Gardens. Vanessa showed up 2 hours late. She didn't apologize. She looked at me and said, "Fix my hair, it's frizzy." I'm a photographer, not a stylist, but I tried to help. Throughout the shoot, she belittled Mark. "God, Mark, suck in your gut. You look pregnant, not me." "Don't smile like that. You look like a horse. Close your mouth." Mark just took it. He laughed nervously. "She's just a perfectionist, Alex." When I delivered the photos, edited, retouched, beautiful, she called me at midnight. "These are trash," she screamed. "Why do I look fat in image 402? Why didn't you Photoshop my nose smaller? You need to redo them, and I want the raw files so I can edit them myself with my filters." I explained that I never give out raw files. It's industry standard. She told me, "You're working for me. You're free help. Do what I say or I'll tell Mark to uninvite you." I should have quit then. But I looked at Mark's happy face when he talked about the baby, and I swallowed my rage. The wedding was at a historic estate, very Great Gatsby. I arrived at 8 a.m. Vanessa was in the bridal suite screaming at her mother. I asked for Peruvian lilies, not these cheap bodega flowers. "Get them out of my sight." She threw a vase across the room. It shattered inches from her 60-year-old mother's feet. I started taking getting ready shots. Vanessa snapped her fingers at me. "Hey, camera boy, get me a water, sparkling, and make sure it's cold." "I'm setting up the lights, Vanessa," I said calmly. "I don't care. Mark says you're doing this as a favor. That means you're my assistant. Go." I went to get the water. I was shaking with anger. When I came back, I saw her holding my $2,500 lens, my favorite 85mm prime. "This camera looks heavy," she said, dangling it by the strap. "Does it take good selfies?" "Please put that down," I said, stepping forward. She smirked and accidentally dropped it on the marble table. Crack. The front element shattered. "Oops," she said, not looking sorry at all. "Maybe you should have better gear if you call yourself a professional." I picked up my broken lens. I wanted to walk out, but I saw Mark in the courtyard nervously practicing his vows, and I knew I had to finish the day for him. I switched to my backup gear. 1 p.m., time for the first look video. Since I was doing both photo and video, I needed high-quality audio. I clipped a Sennheiser wireless lavalier microphone on the inside of Mark's jacket and another one onto Vanessa. I clipped hers onto her bustier, hidden inside the dress so it wouldn't show. "This better not make me look bulky," she hissed. "It's invisible, I promise. I'm going to set up the tripod in the garden. I'll signal you when to come out." I walked out of the suite, down the long hallway, and out into the garden where Mark was waiting. I put my headphones on to check the levels and make sure there was no static interference. Mark's mic was quiet. He was just breathing nervously. But Vanessa's mic was hot. She hadn't left the room yet, and her phone rang. I heard the ringtone clearly in my headset. Then I heard her pick up. "Hello, Jason? Are you crazy? You can't call me right now." I froze. I pressed the record button on my camera immediately. "Baby, stop crying," Vanessa said. Her voice was completely different, soft, seductive. "Look, we talked about this. Mark is the golden goose. His parents put a down payment on the house. He's paying off my $80,000 student debt. I can't just walk away from that." I looked at Mark, standing 10 feet away from me, smiling at a butterfly. Vanessa continued, "The pregnancy? Jason, do the math. Mark was in London for 3 weeks when it happened. He's so desperate to be a dad, he didn't even check the calendar. The baby is yours. It has your nose." My stomach dropped to the floor. I felt like I was going to vomit. "Just give me 2 years," she whispered. "I'll secure the assets, get full custody, and divorce him. Then we'll have the money and the kid. Just let me play the blushing bride today. I love you." She hung up. Then she heard her sigh and say to herself, "God, Mark is such a pathetic loser. Let's get this over with." I stood there in the garden, headphones on, shaking. I had it all on tape. Infidelity, paternity fraud, predatory intent. Mark turned to me. "Is she coming, Alex? I'm so nervous." I looked at my best friend. If I told him now, he wouldn't believe me, or he would cause a scene, and she would spin it. She would say I faked it. She would say I was jealous. Also, the ceremony was in 5 minutes. I needed to destroy her. I needed to make sure she couldn't spin her way out of this. I needed witnesses. Mark had asked for a same-day edit, a 5-minute highlight reel to be played on a massive projector during the reception speeches. A plan formed in my mind. A cold, dark plan. I shot the ceremony on autopilot. I watched her say her vows. "Mark, you are the father I always dreamed my children would have." I watched Mark cry tears of joy. I almost threw up. During the cocktail hour, while guests were eating shrimp, I sprinted to the back office where I had my laptop. I imported the footage. I imported the audio from the first look. I worked like a man possessed. I created a montage. Visual, Vanessa looking at her reflection in the mirror, smiling angelically. Audio, Mark is the golden goose. He's a pathetic loser. Visual, Vanessa touching her pregnant belly. Audio, the baby is yours, Jason. Mark was in London. He's too stupid to check the calendar. Visual, Vanessa kissing Mark at the altar. Audio, just give me 2 years. I'll secure the assets and divorce him. I color graded it, I synced the audio levels. It was a masterpiece of destruction. I exported the file as Mark and Vanessa Love Story Final.mp4. The reception was in a grand ballroom, crystal chandeliers, 300 guests. Mark's family, senators, doctors, lawyers, were all there. It was time for the speeches. The DJ announced, and now, Alex, the best man and photographer, has a special surprise video for the couple. I walked up to the laptop connected to the projector. Vanessa was beaming at the head table. She yelled out, "Make sure you got my good angles, Alex." I looked her dead in the eye. "I got everything, Vanessa. Everything." I hit the spacebar. The video started with soft acoustic music, beautiful slow-motion shots of the venue. The guests awed. Then the music cut out abruptly. The screen went black. Vanessa's voice filled the room. High definition, crystal clear. "Jason, do the math. Mark was in London. The baby is yours." The silence in the room was instant and terrifying. Vanessa dropped her champagne glass. It shattered. He's paying off my $80,000 student debt. I can't just walk away from that. On the screen, I showed the footage of her rolling her eyes while Mark's back was turned during the photo shoot. Mark stood up. He looked like a ghost. Mark is such a pathetic loser. The video ended with a freeze frame of Vanessa smirking. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then, chaos. Mark turned to Vanessa. He didn't yell. He sounded incredibly calm, which was scarier. "Who is Jason?" "It's fake," Vanessa shrieked, standing up and knocking over her chair. "Alex used AI. He hates me. He's jealous of us. Mom, tell them it's fake." But Mark wasn't looking at her. He was looking at his mother. Mark's mother is a 60-year-old matriarch who runs a steel company. She stood up. She walked over to the bride. She picked up a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon from the table, and she poured the entire bottle over Vanessa's white, custom-made Vera Wang dress. "Get out," Mark's mom said. "Get out of my house. Get out of my son's life." Vanessa lunged at me. "I'm gonna kill you. You ruined my life." Mark stepped in front of me. He pushed her back. "The baby isn't mine?" Mark asked, tears streaming down his face. "Of course it is," she lied. "I want a paternity test now, or I'm calling the police for fraud," Mark said. Vanessa's father, who had paid for half the wedding, looked like he was having a stroke. He walked up to his daughter, grabbed her by the arm, and dragged her toward the exit. As she was being dragged out, covered in red wine, she screamed back at me, "I'll sue you. That was a private conversation. I didn't consent to be recorded." I grabbed the microphone from the DJ. "Actually, Vanessa," I said to the room, "you signed a contract for videography. Clause 4A, client consents to audio recording via lapel microphones during all wedding hours, and you were wearing the mic. You turned it on." The wedding ended right there. The guests left in shock. Mark stayed at my apartment for a week. He was devastated, but he was relieved. He got the paternity test done in utero, amniocentesis. The baby wasn't his. It was indeed Jason's, her ex-boyfriend from college who was currently unemployed. Mark filed for an annulment based on fraud. It was granted within a month. He sued her for the return of the engagement ring, $40,000, and the money he had spent on her debts. Vanessa tried to sue me for defamation and emotional distress. My lawyer sent her lawyer the raw audio file and a copy of the videography release form she signed. Her lawyer dropped her as a client the next day. Last I heard, Vanessa is living with Jason in a one-bedroom apartment. She tried to become a mommy blogger, but the internet found out who she was, and she was bullied off social media. Mark took a year off. He traveled, went to therapy, and healed. Last month, he met a new girl. She's a librarian. She's sweet, shy, and hates social media. He asked me if I would shoot his wedding if they ever get married. I told him, only if I can mic up the bride again. We laughed. I lost a $2,500 lens that day, but I saved my best friend from 18 years of child support and a lifetime of misery. Best $2,500 I ever spent.